The ModernJeeper Show, the show about Jeeps, Jeeping, and Jeepers.
Well, hey, Modern Jeepers, is another episode of the ModernJeeper Show with me, Matson from MetalCloak, and Mr. Modern Jeeper, Corey Osborne.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, Rockstar Jeep Girl, Jessy.
Hey, what's going on?
Good. So this has got to be like, how far into your welding school are you? Like,
Like halfway?
Halfway, huh?
Yeah.
So you got, what, 2 weeks left? Week and a half?
Mhm.
Well, about a week.
About a week.
Yeah.
About a week? Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I've been seeing your welds. How's it coming?
Yeah.
You excited?
Yeah, I haven't posted any new ones yet. We moved up to a bigger machine and bigger wire. And of course, the whole, Tim, the tool man, Taylor, it was pretty cool. Like, you feel the power in the hand.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
I
awesome.
smiled just a little bit.
Yeah. Big smiles. That's cool. So what's your first project as soon as you graduate? Like, have you already made a room, Corey? Do you have a welding table for her and a machine?
We have a machine.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because of the steel shortages and all of that kind of stuff. Where she's taking classes, our local welding shop is actually, and our gas provider is short on cylinders.
Yeah.
So I had traded my cylinder in a number of years ago because I wasn't using it, and I was leasing it. So, and actually, I'll probably tomorrow go over to our friend's shop in Moab and grab a cylinder. The property he acquired had some extra cylinders, so I'm gonna go steal
Nice.
a cylinder from him, from Jeremy over at Outlaw, and then these guys will trade me out. So once I get some shielding gas back for her, we have a little machine. It's cheap. It's a no-name brand. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sure I'll probably go out in the garage one day and there'll just be a bunch of metal stuff stuck together out there.
Oh, I can just see your compound. You'd be one of those when people drive by and there's the wind chime outside,
Right.
the big rotating thing, a bunch of steel
Yes, see?
together, giant Tyrannosaurus Rex, rusting from the winter.
But I want to invest in a multi-machine because I also want to learn TIG. And the artwork with the TIG machine is out of this world. So I want to try my hand in some of that. But
Well, we need to reach out to our buddies at ESOB. And
Yeah.
they
we've
also
talked about
need to
that.
make some women welding gear.
Yeah,
they do.
Again, yeah.
Because that Rebel is an incredible machine.
Yes.
Right. I remember playing with it way back in the day. Well, it was 2014. I think I went out there, 2014, 2015, met them. But that's a great machine. I mean, that's like a perfect little machine that fits great in the garage, small, compact, multiple capabilities, very easy to program.
Yes.
Absolutely. And new technologies now, the multi-process machines are becoming more common, where typically 10 years ago you bought a MIG machine or you bought a TIG machine, but
Right.
yeah, there's definitely I see this as an evolution. So if you were to drive by in another year, you'd probably see some really weird stuff just stuck together out in the yard. And then there'd be like a wind chime, but it would be all welded solid, so nothing would move. And then it'll progressively get better.
In between roll cages and all
Right.
that good stuff.
So it's this year you drive by, you'll see a stack of welded metal. Next year you drive by and it kind of looks like something. Next year you go by and there's actually like a buggy out there, right?
Right. Like,
Yes.
oh wait, that is gonna be something at some point.
There you go.
So I need
That's it.
torches and plasma cutters and I have all the ideas.
Yeah, you have room on your, like we said before, you have room on your property for another shop, right?
Oh yeah, we'll have the welding shop. Yeah.
You'll have her shop. She needs her office.
My man cave.
Set her up.
In my spare time.
Right. Then you'll be like that. Oh yeah, it's going to be the Rockstar Jeep Girl garage. It's going to be her spot. People are going to be buying buggies, built,
right,
purpose
see?
built sand rails and other things. Yeah, I like it.
Well, this is
Yeah.
great now because I can stick stuff together, but it's never pretty. So now, and
I'll feel useful.
Does it actually stick together is the question.
well, yeah, maybe. I usually just take it to town to our friend's shop, and the guys down at Willie's Fabrication take care of me. And but now I told them I actually was down there yesterday having them help me with a light bar issue that I'm having. But I told them, I said, you know what? If you got something down here that needs to be stuck together, or some grinding or some cutting or something, I know somebody that come out there and work for free. You know, that's it's all about the gaining experience thing.
That's
So
right.
That's true. Hands-on work. Yeah, because that's yeah, you got a lot you can do. I love it. I love the idea. It's gonna be great. And then
well, if,
'cause
and if
I
you're
know that
not using,
when I on my race car, right, I tacked things in. Like I tried a few times, and I can throw a bead, and I can do a little bit of welding, but most time it was like tack it together, hand it over to Rob, and make
Yeah.
sure that it actually held together. There was one place I actually went. I welded on a little bracket and stuff to hold the Artec little oil canister container, right? It holds like 6 or 8 or one of
oh
those
yeah,
little, right? Just for the race rig, because you know you always need that stuff, even though you never even use the stuff.
right.
Welded it all into place. I think it lasted one race before the weld broke. So I leave it to guys like Rob to do a really good weld and make sure that things don't fall apart.
Well, the last things that either of us actually had to have welded on the Jeeps were Max tie downs, his axle tabs,
Mm.
and what a super cool solution to be able to just take a hook. I mean, from loading and unloading Jeeps on and off the CTI trailer after all these years, having to use an axle strap and go around, like I can literally load a Jeep on there, and it takes me about 5 minutes total time. But those axle tabs, that's 1/4 inch steel to the axle tubes.
Right.
I didn't trust myself enough to go, yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
secure my rig with one of
Yeah.
my welds.
Right. Yeah. Not
no.
exactly.
I could have done it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now she
So, and but even that's that thing. Like, okay, so you do it, you welding something to an axle. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. It would be like, where's the extra gusset strap that I can use to make sure that the
Right,
double
Just
up,
in
right?
case.
Yeah.
Right. Just in case. I'm gonna do a few more welds, just in case.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, no,
a few more.
Stack the welds.
I'd have the hook on my tab and then still an axle strap just in case.
Speaking of which, is that where you had your axle straps on the CTI trailer with golden spike on the Christmas parade?
Yes.
So yes, actually. And you know what? I probably wouldn't have been able to do that if I was using axle straps. We just clicked onto those hooks.
Mm.
But so yeah, the Montrose Christmas parade of lights was, I haven't I, I've only done that parade one other time in my life, and it was about, I don't know, I think it's been 10, 12 years ago. And I was part of the Western Slope four wheelers here in town, and my buddy Terry and that group, we all, yep, let's go do the parade of lights. And that was back when I had spikes still.
Mm.
And this year I thought, well, heavens, I've got this really badass CTI trailer. What if I could pull it down the road with it flexed out? And I was hesitant, and also height issues, because
power
lines, things like that. And I ended up putting flags, our ModernJeeper Adventure and CTI flags on top of the trailer. But it worked out really well. And it's a little bit more top heavy with everything twisted up, but I twisted it all up, strapped it back down to the trailer, and then we put lights all over everything. And I tell you what, it was a spectacle. And I bet there had to be at least 3,000 people in downtown Montrose. It was amazing.
It was packed.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm looking at pictures now. For all of our listeners, you can check us out at facebook.com/ModernJeeper. You can see the post he made. You got the white lights, the big white bulbs. Interestingly enough, the big white bulbs going on the Dodge, which really looks good. It's kind of funny. That truck's how many years old now?
It's a 16.
So it's a 16, and it looks really good with that. With the way it's set up, and that wrap just kind of gave it a whole new life.
It did, and and I was trying to process in my mind how we were going to hook all the lights up. So I actually, because we have the big generator on the front of the CTI trailer, I thought, heavens, we have 6,500 watts. I can run a bazillion lights. Well, it turns out I don't have a bazillion lights.
Mhm.
So we went to Wally World. We did a little bit of shopping, and I bought what I thought was going to be a lot. But because of the length of the truck and trailer, and because of we also decorated Jessy's JK and had some lights up on the LJ. more lights is always better. And trying to keep I also was concerned about the sound of the generator. So if I was going to bind up the generator, it was going to be very loud.
Right.
So I actually put I have a little Honda generators, the little 2000 watt guys. I put one of those in the back of the truck and put all the truck lights on the little Honda, and actually the LJ lights were on the little Honda, and then put the trailer lights all on the generator on the trailer.
Oh, wow.
But I had room for a lot more lights, and it worked out really well, though. Yeah, now I know I need like twice as amount of lights.
Well, you've got your collection. No, it looks it looks great, and you did a good job with the lights on it, and Jessy's rig is all done. I loved that you used the Jessy the lights, and you probably had some on the LJ I didn't notice, but that were like meant for bushes, like covering your hood.
The
big
nets.
The net
yeah,
light.
the nets. That's great.
They are awesome, but fighting over Walmart and finding a lot of those was really slim. I think I fought a couple other ladies off that were looking for blue lights. I was like, I need those.
Back off,
and
back
they
off.
were the last ones. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah, small town life, your Walmart there. Is it a super center or is it just kind of a
it's a super center,
it's a super
it's
center.
not very big.
Yeah. It's the super center. It's the center of life in Montrose, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we have there in Home Depot and maybe a couple
of
other
RV
places.
parking lot. Are you kidding?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, the homeless RV parking lot.
And that too.
Yeah.
It was cool though to hear the comments. It was funny driving the truck down Main Street with the windows down. I could hear conversations very clearly, which was odd, but people had kind of narrowed in on the street, and people were 6 and 7 deep all the way along both sides.
Wow.
But to hear the comments of, oh my God, that must be broken, or look at the flex on that thing, and oh, look at that Jeep. Like, yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, so cool. So check out, guys, facebook.com/ModernJeeper and look at the photos and post some photos of your rig. I mean, everybody loves putting lights on their Jeep, and whether you're doing a parade or just around town, or your Christmas wreath on the front of your JT. Ask my wife to find a Christmas wreath for me.
Every time I think of Christmas, I think of Clark Griswold and him saying the Christmas. And when we talk about the Christmas wreath, it's really easy to say.
Christmas wreath. Oh man. So and actually, like Justin was pointing out that on his JT, right, he's got the 110 adapter in the back.
Yes.
Right. So he's
I wanted to take the Gladiator, and I thought this will be so easy.
Yeah, I just plug in a bunch of lights and run them all the way around, right?
That's right.
When I've done it before in the Jeep. I'm sure, Jessy, you just had an inverter in your rig, right?
I actually put a little generator in the back of hers.
I can hear
crap.
Oh,
you did? Oh, wow.
All I heard was generator.
Because I just had a little,
when
I did it, I just had a little inverter. I actually have an inverter that sits in the cup holder.
Oh,
and then you just plugs in a little inverter. And then, of course, then you have to have lights extension cord coming out of the center console over to the side and then around the other thing. But
but I had my light bar all shining, all MetalCloak.
I saw that. In fact, the photo
it's like a big beacon.
One of the photos is cool because you got the photo and then you've got the MetalCloak like reflected off the camera lens. So it's upside down, equidistant from right below the fender. So I like that. In fact, I requested that picture to be cleaned up, and I haven't seen it done yet, and put on our Christmas ideas page at christmas.metalcloak.com. Is a list of products that we can ship out and make sure they ship out by the 15th, and then you'll have them in time for Christmas. So it's whether it's t-shirts, swag, whatever. Our MetalCloak jackets, those Go USA jackets, which are $200 jackets that we were selling for I think $120, but now they're on sale for $89.
Oh, nice!
Double layers. I mean, super warm.
It's a 3-in-1.
I've gotten lots of questions about that actually.
Yeah, well, those are available on the website. And we're gonna, all that stuff's available. So christmas.metalcloak.com. So I wanted to put that image there because right now it's just the Gladiator, but I want to put that image there next to it. So it's kind of cool. Oh, well, that was great. So how much fun was that? Just be able to go out and have you ever done a parade before? Well, you said you
I
did it
have.
years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny for me. Of course, I've lived in Montrose for a significant amount of time, and I had a past life here. Uh, I saw more people yelling, "Hey, there's Corey!" and people that I haven't seen in 20 years, from not only real estate agents but lenders and people from the community that I just haven't seen in so long. It was so, for me, it was, what was funny is we got all the way to the end. We turned off of Main Street, and we all three of us pulled over, and our friend that just retired from the state patrol was with us, and Kenny from Backcountry 4x4, and I'm like, I didn't take a single photo as we drove down the street,
Try
or
not to run over
video.
children.
We were very concerned about running into the car in front of us, of course, and things like that. But yeah, in a matter of literally, I think it took us about 45 minutes to drive down Main Street. Um, it was such an emotional thing. It was so much fun, and it all happened within 45 minutes, and then it was over, and it was done. And it was like, oh,
Uh-oh, crickets.
yeah. It's like Christmas morning after you open presents. So.
Then everybody was sending him pictures.
Yeah.
Road,
No,
so.
it's like I've told the story before, but living in Japan, Christmas is weeks and weeks of parties leading up till Christmas Eve. And then you wake up the next morning and it's like Christmas was canceled and nobody told you. Crickets.
Yeah.
Nobody. Well, that's awesome. So cool.
Yeah.
And so nobody was yelling, "Hey, there's that asshole, yo, your buddy," or something like that.
No, none of that. None of that. And it was cool. Like, even people I used to work with at the title insurance company and that I haven't seen. And yeah, it was really a lot of fun. And the kids were, I guess, honking your horn thing is a big deal. So it was really odd that, like, here's a Christmas parade and I'm honking the horn on the Dodge and they're going crazy. And I'm like,
All right.
Well,
these
see,
kids
now
need to get out
next
more.
year you got to have your sound bar out. You got to be playing like
Yeah.
Santa Claus music, and you're
I
gonna
think they
actually.
wanted-
I think your beard will be big enough by then. You can actually wear a Santa outfit.
I think they
I
wanted.
got him a hat. Did you wear your hat?
Oh, I did wear. I had a Santa hat on, so
See.
yeah.
Well, if you're not Santa, it's the helper's hat until you actually have it Santa, right?
Right.
Which, by the way, my kids, last Friday we went to a Christmas tree lighting, and it's Orangevale Community Center has a Christmas tree lighting every year. Really cool event because it's a free event. They have, and generally they do it inside. This year it was all outside, it was foggy, it was cold, it was beautiful. I mean, it was a great event. All outside primarily, so we had to wear masks, and it wasn't a spreader event. But they have, live music, which is basically the kids groups all coming out and singing Christmas songs. And then they have a kid station for play. They had a popcorn station. They have a hot chocolate station. They have a coffee station. They have a hot dog station. They have a cookie station. And then they have Santa Claus, and all that stuff's free. Like, you can go out there and get a hot dog or whatever. And then the Santa Claus, which was a little different this year. Now, in the past, they had an older couple, God bless them, older couple, it was kind of a little creepy because the Santa Claus always had like gunky stuff in his eyes, but he was really, really old guy. But again, God bless him, probably an amazing guy who's been doing it for 20 years or whatever. And it was a standard Santa Claus. You go sit on the lap. This year, it was a younger guy doing Santa Claus with his big chair, but they had a table and a bench in front. So the kids sat at the table and talked to Santa across the table, and then turned around and got their photo taken. And he would lean over the table right in front of her, this. So it was a COVID era Santa, I guess you can call it. I mean, it was just a social distance Santa. It was kind of interesting, but it was still cool. And my kids are at that age now where they actually like really care about Santa. Both of them do. So Jack, of course, is very specific. Like, he knows exactly what he wants. And he's specified to Santa what he wants. Oh. He wants the Batman car from Costco. Oh, that's what he wants. Right now, I keep trying to tell him I think he's too big for it, but that's what he wants. So he tells Santa. Josh kind of gets into it and has goofy time with it. But the thing great is because Jack is so aware of Santa, literally, he's doing something. He's starting to make a mess. All I do is say, "Santa's watching."
Oh.
He stops and he cleans up his mess.
Yeah.
Like, he is very aware of the fact, and I've been going through the song with him, and maybe this is a bad thing. I don't know. Like, guys, with the song,
I think threatening young children is fine.
Yeah,
at least it's working.
It's working, right? I mean, it's like, kids, you better watch out. You better not cry. Better
That's
not
right.
pout. I'll tell you why. And like, just like go through the song with them over and over again. So it's in their head. I figure I get at least 2 years out of it. Right.
He's very literal when it comes
Yeah,
to
it's
this.
exactly 2 years. Of course, he's probably going to hate me when he discovers that, Santa is a figment of my imagination. But
right.
wait, did I just say that out loud? By the way,
Yeah, no, he doesn't watch.
Spoiler alert for parents.
Yeah. This show is not kid friendly. We marked that on YouTube, so if you're just listening to it in the car, you may want to.
Well, I say, the thing is, the truth is, I say Santa's a figment of my imagination because I've never been a good boy.
Right, so you're never on the list. Well, you're on the list. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm on the wrong list. So if you're every once in a while, Santa comes through and has come. I never got coal. But I told the kids it's a new era. You're not going to get coal. He just ain't going to show up. He doesn't have time to come by the house.
Well, and he wouldn't give you coal nowadays anyway. To be like, here's a pack of lithium batteries.
Right. We got plenty of toys. Here's some batteries. So we went Christmas shopping on Saturday.
Can use his toy. Right. That's just me.
Yeah. We went Christmas tree shopping on Saturday. Christmas tree, right?
Yeah.
In the past, we've kind of done we've gone Walmart. I've gotten trees at Walmart. I've got trees at Home Depot. Has always had a good selection, right? We've done Christmas tree lots. We've tried to do the whole go out and do natural cut down at a Christmas tree farm, but generally you're like, you guys spend hours trying to find one that looks halfway decent, and then you got to trim it up yourself because it's all different branches, different directions. Yeah. So we went to this one lot in Midtown, and we get there, and somebody had mentioned they have really lots of big trees. Well, we have a big ceiling, so we can do a large tree if we want to.
Right.
But otherwise, we do generally a shorter tree that just fits in front of the window. So we go to the lot, and I start looking. Oh my God, those are some great trees, and like some 8, 9, 10 footers, right? My wife wants to. Oh yeah,
I think I saw.
You saw a social media post on it, right?
I was like.
And like she walks up and goes, "Oh, that is a beautiful tree." And she shows me the price tag. And the one she was looking at was $250. Mm-hmm. And then she starts going and she sees $350, right? Like,
wow.
I mean, 8 to 10 foot trees. And yeah, sure. But they weren't $350 for a Christmas tree.
That will die in a few weeks.
That lasts if you take care of it.
Yeah.
They got to match the fuel prices in California.
Right. Well, they had like 10 guys working there too, so they had to be making good money.
Yeah, they're like, man, all we need to do is sell a tree a day and we're fine.
Right. Wow. It's not like the guys out it, and they were busy. I mean, this place, like the average tree share, they had like $50 trees and $60 trees, 140. Your average 6-foot tree was $140, right?
Wow.
So, but it was crazy, and and they were busy and people were constantly coming, and they had the guys working their butts off and doing the wrap up. And you go to someplace like a Home Depot lot where they've got, all these trees out there, and you got maybe a guy working there, right? Then he goes and sells you a tree and wraps it up if he wants to, throw it on the top of your truck yourself. But yeah, it was kind of crazy.
I just got done having a conversation with a friend of ours from Line X, Mr. Yash, and we kind of had this conversation about economics right now, and it's very interesting. And we've come across a few articles in the Jeep industry, and then of course we see it when we go shopping, all of us, I think. It's very interesting to me that prices are up, things are more expensive, but people haven't slowed down really in buying things and purchasing stuff. Everybody still seems to be fairly busy. I don't know. And people have had record years in some industry segments, of course, this year. It's going to be interesting. I think a lot of people are still very kind of, what is next year going to look like?
Well, here's a little insight that I think is interesting. It's not guaranteed, but here's a little insight. I saw a report recently that said that Black Friday weekend was an increased amount of credit usage, of buying on credit or buying by financing, because a lot of companies offer financing now.
Right.
So if you go for the last year, for 2020, where we were increasing our spending habits because we had more money, and we're creating habits. And those habits are that I'm willing to spend and buy what I want because I'm just going to do it. Head into 2021, economics are changing a little bit, but you have this habit still, and you still want things. So all of a sudden now you're in a position where maybe the economic future is a little shaky and maybe you don't have the cash, but financing is so easy that you
Right.
can continue that habit, maybe. But you definitely see a greater number of people using financing options to get their product, especially 0% financing, that sort of thing. I just put off the payments till later.
Right.
As a society, we just hope that that moves forward into 2022, where people have the money to pay that and doesn't become an economic situation where all of a sudden where a lot of people are in debt and don't have the wherewithal to pay that back.
Well, we were just chatting about our chief executive officer Carlos Tavares at Stellantis, who put out an article saying, there's all kinds of pressure for the automakers to develop electric vehicles, and yeah, we're going to taper off our production of the internal combustion engine. Um, and yeah, the ICE vehicles, I like that. We just call them ICE now.
They're ice. It sounds more glamorous.
You're right. We're just going to call it ice. We're not going to produce ice anymore. Well, isn't anything going to get warm? I don't understand.
But
But
aren't those the bad guys that take all the illegals and
yeah,
throw
they're
'em over
like the drug
border?
guys or something, aren't they?
Yeah, right. They just
Yeah.
They're the illegals.
Well, Stellantis has said now that the industry and this move towards electricity is happening far faster
Mhm.
than anyone really could kind of get a grasp of, and the technology is changing just as fast as well. But we're talking about a 50% increase in the cost of a single vehicle. 50% is what they're estimating. So where does that number come in at? And that's going to get pushed onto the consumer. And right now, the consumer would not be able to afford that vehicle. So,
What's interesting
um,
about that number, though? What's interesting about that? I mean, it has to be this idea that when we're taking a concept, we're taking a Jeep Wrangler, right? And we're having to build an electric version of it.
right,
So there's going to be increased costs in it versus the idea of building an electric version of a Jeep Wrangler, right? I mean, Tesla has managed to lower, the Tesla model was to build this expensive sports car to
right,
fund a good family sedan, to then fund a small compact car, right? And to build that. And so they've brought the costs down by doing these economies of scale, gigafactories, right? What Stellantis is just basically admitting is like, yeah, we're going to do it, but we're not going to build the economies of scale that you expect to make it cost affordable.
Well, I think that if you think about how many vehicles Tesla sells in a year versus what Stellantis sells,
Right.
we're talking about a whole different number.
Right. So how come they can't do the economies of scale? It's like there's nobody really willing to take that risk. I look at Elon Musk as the Henry Ford of the era, right?
Right,
Henry Ford was notorious for notorious in a good way, but he would big bets, big risks. I'm going to build this big factory that is driven by thousands of employees. I'm going to pay them more than the average wage so that I can have these good people working for me because I'm going to build this massive factory to produce all these vehicles in a time when nobody would do that. So it's that same idea, the economies of scale, and building these massive factories to be able to do it to keep the cost ultimately down. Now, the difference is, Elon Musk has the value of a stock that's trading at a super high valuation,
right.
right? That keeps the money flowing essentially versus, Ford is at an all-time high. I mean, I haven't seen the last time Ford was trading at $19 a share. It's somewhere around that now. And they're trying to do economies of scale versus I don't even know what Stellantis is trading at or even.
Well, I think if you started to build a Jeep with a battery and that was your out of the box technology, like we're going to create a factory and we're going to build these, there's going to have these electronic vehicles.
Right.
Whereas Stellantis already has factories that they would have to gut these plants to now change over. And of
Right.
course, as demand increases for lithium and all of the things to build now that Tesla was like, hey, we only need a few of these batteries to be created. Okay. Well, now we need millions of these batteries to be created. Well, guess what? Costs going to go way up because we're just not going to be able to do it.
Right. And somebody has to create a new battery. I mean, quite frankly,
Yes,
there has to be a new invention. I'm hoping that.
So they're looking now at solid state technology for these batteries, which will also make them very small.
Yeah, make them smaller. The beauty on the Tesla system was the cooling system to keep the batteries, right? But they're still digging massive plants. I mean, Afghanistan, I understand there's, big contracts with China to get into the lithium mines in Afghanistan, right? Huge loss for the rest of the world, but China's going to have access to it. But you're right, building a vehicle from the ground up, and this is why, like a Rivian, what,
Yes.
Revgon's a 10-year-old company or something like that, just went
Something like
public
that.
at a super high valuation for very few products delivered, which is always sketchy. But
Right.
but their ground up operation, right? They're able to build a vehicle at a decent price, right? It's not a I'm going to rape you price. It's a decent price for a truck that is getting all kinds of great reviews. And I just did think it was funny that when that the truck of choice for Blue Origin, the space company owned by Jeff Bezos, is the Rivian trucks, and that's their vehicle of choice on the planet. No Teslas, just Rivians.
There's been a few articles out there in the off-road magazines about the Rivian and people are I mean from what the guys at Four Wheeler and stuff have said,
Yeah.
they love it. It's amazing. So I don't know. I think Jeep has its work cut out for it. I think we'll see where technology goes.
Well, it does. I mean, you got to think it takes a lot more to move a solid axle than it does, IFS, and at some point, is there going to be a fully IFS electric Wrangler? IFS and IRS. I mean, just like a full on designed for, because they have this whole future that they've laid out for us, right? We talked about this a few episodes
Yep.
ago. This
Yep.
whole future laid out for this self-driving Wrangler that's going to come out there. Well, how much energy is burned? The fact that it only has a 23-mile radius, the 4xe, a 23-mile distance, not radius, but um, because of what it's having to move, versus like if we're really going to do a full-on electric rig, we have to have IFS. We bring the weight down. There's a whole bunch of things that change on it in order to
Absolutely.
make it effective and efficient as an electric vehicle.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that electricity is going to become a huge subject. We've talked about it a lot this year in our podcasts. Obviously, all the automakers are talking about it. I mean, even companies overseas that, they're. It's interesting to me that companies overseas have just said, "Oh, we're just not going to have internal gas engines anymore." Like they don't get a choice. This is just what they're going to now import, and
Right.
that's just the way it is. Whereas at least here in the United States, we're still talking about it. A lot of other countries have just said, "No, we're done with that."
Well, that's the case in China. In China, they're only doing the 4xe now. So you can't get another Wrangler, or you probably can. There's probably ways to do it, but the 4xe is the only Wrangler being sold in China because they
Crazy.
want that. And then of course you can always just buy the Chinese. I'm only bringing this up. So the Bremok has come out as kind of a
Yes.
thing. It's as I understand it, Russian designed, Chinese manufactured,
Russian designed, yes.
and it's coming to the US now. They have Bremok USA, BREMACH USA.com. It's just an SUV. I mean, it looks like a lot like a Kia Sorento or something like that. They have a pickup truck that kind of looks like maybe a Suzuki Met,
Like a Ridgeline or something.
yeah, like a little
isn't it?
Ridgeline. I think it's kind of that style, but their front grille, nothing fancy at all, which is fine. It's how Kia started, and all these companies kind of started that way. They do have the Bremok T-Rex, which is on their website. The Bremok T-Rex Extreme 4x4 still enjoys a strong global following. It looks like a little like forward cab type system a little bit. Not really, I mean, because the tire is still in front of the driver, but it's just a little pickup truck with these odd bodies, and I think it's kind of weird. But the Bremok's vehicles use quality systems just as Bosch Electronics and GM 6L50 transmissions from Strasbourg, France. I love Chinese company using a transmission from France. But this is my favorite part. This is the tagline at the very top of the website. For the tenacious, no road is impassable. For the tenacious, no road is impassable. I would have never have thought to use the word tenacious in a tagline. And then, of course, right after that is dash that Lola tenaci invidia est via.
I was going to say, it probably got lost in translation, right?
Yeah. No, it's like that's like now they have their crust. No la tenaci in via est via. Like that's the Latin version, the Italian version. That's funny. For the tenacious, no road is
For the
impassable.
tenacious.
I've got to use tenacious in some marketing someplace.
There you go.
The modern Jeeper. For the tenacious.
For the tenacious.
For the Jeeper who is
inside you.
tenacious. Yes. No la tenaci modern Jeeper.
Oh.
I just thought it was funny. And you know, I don't know why they're marketing this as like a serious 4x4, but it's just, they're just SUVs. So it's kind of interesting. But another option for American markets.
I mean, how we're all about the marketing. That's what, I mean, that's the nature of what everybody does. I mean, our industry is all about the marketing. And it turns out if you can market a product well, it doesn't even have to work, but people will buy it.
Well, and at $26,000, you know, at today's prices and the way things keep going up, I mean, 26 rand's not a bad price for a quote unquote premium 4x4.
Well, for the tenacious Jeep owner.
The tenacious. Yes.
Yeah.
For the tenacious, no road is impassable. Please do not go up Black Bear Pass.
Right.
The tenacious are not allowed. That's a new sign. Not for the tenacious.
Well, as we, I don't know. I mean, we continue to learn every week about what is being, I don't know if it's being pushed on us or being marketed to us or being sold to us. I only hope that our industry friends and our partners, you know, there's some out there that still continue to do the right thing and still make exceptional products for the best price they can. And the bad part about it is I think we're all learning too that again, people that purchased a Jeep and thought that, well, I don't have to do anything. I can go wheel all over the country and I don't have to maintain it. And that's just not the case. I don't know. I guess my point is that we spend an awful lot of time anymore maintaining things and keeping things in running order in order for us to be able to go out and enjoy the things that we like. And I don't think a lot of people see that side of the maintenance things that have to take place. People just buy it, they run it. I don't care if it's a box or a light or a tire or a wheel or whatever.
What, you have to maintain things for them to?
Yeah, I know. And we
wash your car, clean off the salt off the road.
My brain's all screwed up because I'm still in that maintenance mode, and I've been having to. I'm learning a lot about electricity and things these days. And in fact, I have a new gadget. This is my new toy. This is for the electric
it is not
guys
a bedroom
out there.
toy for those who it's not a bedroom
it does
toy.
take batteries, but it does not vibrate. It does have this awesome clamp on the top of it.
Oh,
yeah, that's to hold on to things. It's a Klein Tools. This is the CL390, so it'll read AC and DC currents, which some of the lesser models will only read AC current. And the reason I bought it is because I've been having some light issues. And for the electricians out there and people that know electricity and like it, I didn't have a way to test current. But I had an issue with a light recently that was pulling an extremely large amount of amps. In fact, I melted a 30 amp fuse from a light that was only supposed to draw 20 amps. So,
ow.
Yeah. And in me, of course, being fearful of I'm going to melt the Jeep down, I needed a better way to see what's really going on. So literally, I can put the positive lead through the center of this clamp, and it will actually show the amp pull on a particular device,
Wow.
AC or DC. Yeah, it's really cool. It's helped me troubleshoot a little bit. What it's done is proved to me that the amp or the light is actually pulling way more than it should. I have not fixed it yet, although it's been in for repair. It's still not fixed. It still pulls about 30 amps. I've even I've gone down the road of separating the wiring harness, using a different wiring harness, even using a battery outside of the vehicle and a separate wiring harness to trigger this light and see what it pulls. It still pulls 30 amps.
And it gets hot.
And it gets hot. The wires get hot. Of course, 30 amps is a lot of power.
Right. Well, it's interesting you say that, because we had a customer reach out to us one day and say, hey, your lights, and we had these little lights that, if you get the rear bumper for the Gladiator rear bumper, right, and you get these little lights that go on either side of your license plate, simple little lights. They're tiny little LED lights. And he's like, this one is pulling over 30 amps, and it's like that big,
right?
And it's like, no way, that's crazy. And he shows us, right? And I don't know what it was, but something in that. And so we sent him a new one, and the new one was fine. Now, where it was, if it was wired up wrong, I have no idea. All I know is at that moment, that little thing was doing something like 30. It was crazy. And for that draw to happen on a little tiny little LED. But remember, they're just circuit boards.
Right.
And I've watched before, like there's a TikTok guy who does diagnosis and stuff on phones and circuit boards and all that, right? And he gets into them, and he can go in there and find, like, there's a little, for lack of a better word, solder connection or something, a line, right? That all it does is take something that'll cut that and fixes it. And he does that kind of test. He's testing the amperage, using his ohm meter, watching it all, and realizes, oh, there's the problem right there. Extra heat is being generated because of this little flaw in the circuit board. So it's
interesting.
It can just be, and all an LED light is a circuit board.
That's
with
right.
a bunch of diodes on it. So
well, and this particular light is an extremely expensive light bar, and
right.
it's one of our partners that I've ran their lights for many years, and I love their stuff. And it's been very frustrating for me because I can't fix it. So I had to go through about 16 different steps in order to make sure that I'm not doing something wrong and it's not on my side, like it is actually the light itself. And they've been very great. I've had one of their tech guys basically on email messaging back and forth, shooting him videos of here's what I'm doing and here's why. And there's sometimes that you just can't, there's not really a fix. So again, but we want to verify. I want it to be right. And I think a lot of times if you buy something off of Amazon or wherever, and nothing against Amazon, they're just the seller. But if you buy some cheese ball product and you expect it to be stellar, that's probably not going to happen. And sometimes, we've seen Jeeps catching on fire. We've seen Jeeps having issues. Lights don't work, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
There's probably something like this going on. The fact that this melted a 30 amp fuse, we think it actually got hot enough that the casing started to melt, and then it did pop, it did break, but we think that when it was melting, it actually rejoined the fuse back together, which created a bunch more heat. But anyways, I hope to get it resolved. And again, I've been having fun with my new little meter here, because now I'm running around testing all kinds of stuff. Well, I wonder what that pulls. How much amps does that? And so
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
What's really interesting to me is, and I didn't think about this, depending on the direction you hold it, it measures the direction of current flow. So it'll show negative if you want to put the positive side towards your power source, and then it'll show a positive number. What also, if you just put a regular power cord, say your lamp, if you just put your power cord in there, it's not going to show that it's pulling any power, because there's a negative and a positive.
Wow.
So it cancels itself out, reads 0. So you have to split those apart, and then you can read just the positive side.
Okay, so how many of his cords at his house have you split apart?
Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna.
Oh my god.
So, and actually, I went on YouTube and I found what people do. This is a pretty common thing. They create their own splitter. So they have an extension that plugs into each side has them split, so that you can plug something into it and then read one more easily.
Somebody's bored.
Which means you won't be able to. It would be very difficult to do like a US. I'm curious what a USB cable would does, right? Like a USB-C cable, but you can't really split that. And you start opening those up and you don't want to see what's inside because
Yeah, a lot of
it's,
those they're bound up with this
yeah.
braiding and
Oh,
whatnot.
I
And
tried once before. I met with like a lightning cable, like that
oh
breaks,
yeah,
and it's like the braiding is part of the flow. Like you
yes,
can't take a lightning cable, cut it apart, and splice it back together. At least I can't. I don't have the skill set. But it's like you're like, oh, okay, let's just hold it together and just see if we can make it all work because it
yeah.
doesn't
Just
work.
keep messing with it, and oh look, I have power. Just hold it like that,
Yeah,
and you'll be
because
fine.
when your kid takes it and bites through it or cuts it, you got to still use it, like right.
Right, right,
Uh, so speaking of things, we've actually this is interesting, and I think we want to talk about this a little bit. But it just came up on Modern Jeeper today. You guys posted up, and it's the aluminum body panel a problem, right? And the article is, "Are aluminum body panels a problem? We want to know!" Exclamation point. Well, this all came about because I think it was yesterday. Lawsuit was filed, a class action lawsuit filed against FCA, Stellantis, whatever you want to call it,
right.
about corrosion occurring on these aluminum body panels. Aluminum body panels, as they stay in, and this is at classaction.org. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see.
Yeah,
Actually, didn't know that.
they're
That one
talking
didn't
about
pop up.
JL and Gladiator body
Yeah.
panels, the fender and doors
The
and
Jeep
hood.
Wrangler and Jeep Gladiator corrosion warranties are allegedly a sham because every warranty says a corroded aluminum panel must also be perforated. That's in the warranty. This is at carcomplaints.com. But in the class action file, I got the wrong one up here. But essentially, from our article, that this class action lawsuit is alleging that there is no way that that basically FCA is um, screwing everybody because the aluminum isn't really aluminum; it's kind of an alloy, and if the paint comes off, it corrodes.
And that they
So,
didn't test it. They should have spent 3 to 4 years testing after these panels have been painted. And yeah, it goes on to say that if people, even if FCA would agree to repaint your vehicle, then it's going to still be decreased in value, and you can join this class action lawsuit if you've had issues and
right?
yada yada.
Yeah, it's I'm pulling it up here, the article, because what's interesting about it, though, and this is why I had something else up here that kind of pulled on it. This was filed just on Monday, I believe.
Right. Yeah, just recently.
So September 18th, 2021, Ford F-150 class action lawsuit has been dismissed after the plaintiff alleged the aluminum side panels, hoods, and roof corrode because the paint bubbles and peels away.
Well,
This is just in September, right?
And that was in a lawsuit against Ford.
That was a lawsuit against Ford. Nelson versus Ford Motor Company. And although this is interesting, actually, yeah, this was originally filed. This is a different one, possibly. But the idea is this whole thing, basically, this complaint against Ford was dismissed as it can't be a class action. It's going to be, according to court documents, Ford and the plaintiff resolved the lawsuit to the satisfaction of both parties, blah, 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 right? But the reality is that, is this something that really is just like some people out there trying to find a reason to go after a company?
Yeah,
Right?
it's just like ambulance chasers going, hey, if you've ever breathed asbestos, you should call this 1-800 number.
Right. But here's the thing. A lot of times it's taking care of your stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm
out.
sorry, but there's a reason why paint starts to bubble up. And yes, can you have a lembum? Can you have a bad paint job? Can you have a bad
Sure.
Line-X job? Sure.
Sure.
But taking care of your stuff generally tends to offset that sometimes, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. But because you guys are great. I mean, you're great at taking care of your stuff. I'm not. I'm the opposite side. Like we're two sides of a coin here. Because historically I would buy a vehicle and I would just run into the ground. We talked about this before. I'd just run into the ground, sell it for $500. Right.
Right.
At one day I'd sell it for $500. Right. I'd just keep running into the ground, buy a used car, run into the ground, and sell it for $500. Use aluminum tape to fix vacuum leaks, whatever it took. Right. That's just me. Now I have my nice Gladiator, so I try to keep it clean and keep people's hands off of it, but it's pretty much used for any R&D that's wanted around here. But the idea that you're suing a company like FCA for the Wrangler, especially like this aluminum. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, it's not really aluminum anyway, right? It's not pure. It's like aluminum alloy of some sort, right?
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's for all intents and purposes, it's much lighter than the steel they were using prior. So, um, I mean, they're literally using what if it's a mixture of aluminum. I don't know if I don't know what it is. If it was 6061 or something like that, I think it would be extremely expensive. So
Right.
it's
Right. It is some sort of alloy, but it's super thin too, right? I mean,
it
it's
is super thin, and they were doing that in order to increase fuel mileage and lighten the weight of the vehicles, according to what the EPA wanted them to do. So,
okay, I found the answer. Orozco versus FCA US LLC. The class action alleges automaker FCA US has falsely represented the quality and benefits of the aluminum. Interesting, the quality and benefits
yeah,
of the aluminum body panels found on its 2018 to 2021 Jeep Wrangler and 20 to 21 Jeep Gladiator SUVs. The proposed class action alleges automaker FCA US has falsely represented the quality and benefits. The 70-page lawsuit claims FCA US has failed to disclose to consumers that the Wrangler and Gladiator body panels, including the hood, doors, and fenders are plastic.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, maybe they're calling that
that's
flare.
the flare. That's the flare that's plastic, right? The
Yeah.
corrode, and that the exterior paint found in each affected vehicle's aluminum body parts can bubble, flake, peel, rust, and or blister due to a latent defect that manifests over time. The case contends that drivers had no way of learning that FCA's representations about the Wrangler and Gladiator aluminum body panels were false, given the automaker failed to disclose and knowingly concealed the issue in its marketing materials. Okay, so it didn't say. Now, if its marketing material said, and I haven't seen this, we made them aluminum so they wouldn't corrode. Like,
right.
That's kind of what we say. Like, we use zincs to help to fight against nature, right? So maybe if our zinc didn't hold against it, you could go. It was only after plaintiffs had purchased their class vehicles that FCA's incomplete marketing, which omitted reference to the corrosion defect, was revealed. Per the lawsuit, neither FCA nor its authorized dealers have acknowledged the alleged defects in response to Wrangler and Gladiator driver inquiries. Moreover, owners and lessees who bring their vehicles to FCA dealers for repairs have learned that the provided fixes, even if done properly, do not cure the corrosion problem.
That'd be some interesting marketing material.
Yeah, it makes me wonder how big of a problem this really is.
Well, and the marketing material, I can just see that. Hey, by the way, if you scratch one of these body panels, your panels are going to corrode and fall off. Just FYI.
Yeah, that's why I could just be at least in the star at the bottom in the small print.
Small print, like by the way,
tiny title small print. Yeah,
coffee is hot. When you get it at McDonald's, it better say so on the
lid. Right? Oh my gosh, that's that. Don't go me down that. There's a whole backstory to that woman.
Oh yeah,
the whole thing. The 2020 Gladiator, Jeep's first new truck in almost 30 years, was also equipped with aluminum body parts, all of which the lawsuit alleges suffer from the same design and or manufacturing defect. Well, you know what we should do? We should get our buddy Tony on here, and then we'll talk about the choice for which we need to get him on here anyway.
Right.
We need to schedule that in. It's probably about the good time of the year, and we also need to schedule in our panel for the new year.
For the new year,
it's time for the new year panel
coming up for sure.
I was kind of looking at that and like, I wonder if we can bring the same people in, or if we're gonna, a couple of them were like really engaged. There's some that were just weren't like that engaged.
We could. Well, I mean, it's for me, it's funny that all of a sudden the new year is right around the corner. We have so much going on. I just got done putting up a bunch of. There's a link on the ModernJeeper Facebook page. It's not a story yet. There's no reach it yet from ModernJeeper.com, but it's all of a whole bunch of images, about 150 images from our recent Death Valley trip. Registration will be coming back up for that trip in March. Reservation, sign-ups will be coming soon.
Yeah.
Near you.
Okay, great. Wait, I got to cut you off here because this is great. The case goes on to argue that even if the Jeep vehicles at issue were properly repainted, their values would nevertheless be diminished, given repainted vehicles are worth less than those with original paint.
Right.
Is that true?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a Jeep. It gets repainted sometimes when you scratch it on the rocks.
I only want original.
If you use it.
I
only
want
want
an
original?
original Jeep.
You want original paint? Original
Yeah.
Jeep or original paint?
Yep.
So, by the way, guys, check out ModernJeeperAdventures.com. It's got a refresh. We're still working on a lot of details, but Corey's been working on it. Got to refresh some new images up there. I love that shot. That's somewhere in the middle of like.
That's in Joshua Tree side of Death Valley, just outside of the park, actually, as we head back towards Lone Pine, kind of.
So kind of right outside the park.
Yeah.
Boundaries.
Yep.
That's right. Which is why it's an aerial shot,
which is why there's a drone image there.
Yeah. Actually, it wasn't. That was Corey standing on a very tall ladder.
Yes, I had this.
Or a zoom from the mountain. It was a large telephoto zoom from the mountaintop.
Helium. I have a helium balloon that I fill up with my power tank.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then you just like shoot it down with a BB gun. You know that way. Yeah, sure.
I'm actually with the balloon, and I just let it out like you would have.
No, you just suck it in and go, hello, that's the greatest thing to do to the kids. You just suck it in and they start, you can entertain them.
You should do that on our trip.
While
you're on the mic. People
okay, Corey is high on helium while he's talking to the group. Mickey Mouse is hosting this year's Modern Jeeper Adventure. So for those because we're still updating things, but we're doing Death Valley, 2 trips, and in the May, and I'll tell you it's March, yes. Excuse me, March 6th through 9th and 11th through 14th is Death Valley. That's next, of course, Memorial Weekend for Moab. Tillamook. So the homepage has many of our dates already on it, but we're working on the individual pages inside, right? So we're just working to get that all updated. And we'll be able to get that going for you guys here soon, so you can start signing up, get registration open for all of those events, because I know you guys want to get in there quick. And remember, our events are held to a small group, so they sell out fast. They sell out and
a shout out. We should be seeing some. We should have some new content coming from our folks in conjunction with ARS racks, our adventure rack systems. We have a new bracket that will enable us to mount a 270 awning to the back of a Gladiator using our high rack. It'll work on the mid rack as well, but a mid rack, if you were to put a 270 awning on there, well, you'd have to be about 3.5 feet tall. Yeah. So, which for the shorter people out there, if they want,
don't discriminate.
Right. We're not. Yeah. It'd be good for if you had a chair and you were sitting and then the awning could just be right above you.
Oh, that would be like adjustability. Like just lower from your chairs, upper, right? I mean, come on. Make it adjustable for me. Come on. 270 awning. Make it adjustable.
Come on.
That's it.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll have some video. I'm still in the process of creating that and getting the new bracket mounted. Prototype stuff for everybody, but there is a way to enable this to work and be really awesome, actually, because the way that my tent is, the Go Mammoth tent opens to the side rather than some of the other clamshell type things or the soft tents and all that kind of stuff. This bracket actually moves it up and gets it out of the way and gets it flat. So if you had a really long awning, which a lot of these racks don't allow on the side of a Gladiator, you can't have anything very long because it will hit the cab. Because the racks kind of come in a little bit up near the front of the cab. So if you had an awning that was longer than the bed, it would hit the cab and then stick way out the back, which is just silly. So this will actually enable the awning to mount just beyond the cab and be on the outside of the rack still and be able to open up all the way around, and super, super easy. So
Nice. I look forward to seeing that. Yeah, the stuff that Refugee Rack Systems is coming out with is great. I mean, we're having fun with it. The cab over, you guys may have seen images of it on mine, but the cab over system, incredibly strong. Bolts from the front, using the front hoop. That's for our jail Wrangler systems, which is the strongest hoop on the market. It's the strongest rack on the market, period. Yes. We and I hate to say this, I'm gonna call out Gobi because I just can on the podcast, where I might not do it elsewhere. First off, you can't get them, right? That's 7, 8 months out. I keep seeing these posts. Like I was told 2 months. 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 I mean, it's. And I understand. I understand problems, right? Manufacturing, and there are times like we got to the point where we were 4 to 6 weeks out on tie rods, not being able to get material. We've been able to get material all in, and now we have stuff like we're shipping, within a week, suspension systems and things. And it's just we have the capacity to handle it, and we have the material and the raw material to make it happen. But just the overall design, right? The Gobi system uses standoffs against your hardtop to try to have, and it's a cab over quote unquote system.
That's a bad idea.
It is. And so we have this, we have our over cab system that is strong, super strong. You can put a full on tent on top of it. I don't know how Gobi is claiming 600 pounds, whatever they're claiming on it. I wouldn't put 600 pounds in that thing. You'd put a hole through your hardtop.
Absolutely.
But the ARS system, over cab system, cab over system, whatever we're calling it, over the cab system, the over cab system is a super strong. You can put a full tent on there. You can hang out in there. You could put a bunch of stuff on there. You can put solar panels, whatever you want to do. It's just a great system. I love it on my rig.
Well, and even the rack on my Gladiator it's so versatile because I can kind of make it mine. I don't have to. It's not, oh well, here's your posts and now you're done and figure it out. I have the ability to move things around, multiple placements because of the way the mounts work. It's really cool. I mean, I'm kind of that geeky guy where I may not have something in my hand that I want to put. A 3-inch, my little fire extinguishers fit inside the side rails. You can actually put a fire extinguisher and strap it inside the side rail out of the way. And I didn't even think about it. It's just me out there messing with stuff going, oh, well, this works really well. So it's those little things. It's not just a bar and I can put a tent on top. That's not what it's about.
That's cool. And I love that. I love that. And I expect to see more of that from our community as they experiment, right?
Yeah.
And Mike Upchurch, who we all met on our episode a few weeks ago, he's that creative guy too. Like he goes, give me a weekend, I'll figure out 50 ways of doing fun stuff with this and different ways of doing it, 50 different uses. And that's what's great. The community is going to show us that stuff, right? What they need, what they want. So love it. Check it out, adventureracksystems.com. And of course, they're also available at MetalCloak.com. So tech, we already kind of talked tech tip because you talked about your little toy.
Yeah, we kind of talked about, I guess our meter and electricity was our tech tip.
That's right. Electricity. Avoid it. Avoid it at all costs.
Yeah.
It's not
Get
worth
a professional if you can find one.
It's not worth it. We don't need electricity.
No.
Candles for me.
Candles. I like it.
Candles. Yeah, 10,000 candle flashlight, right?
Uh-huh.
All right, my friends. Well, it's been another great episode of the Modern Jeeper Show. We've got you guys. What's happening next week? Well, you're coming out here next week, right?
Yeah, we're actually going to head west a little bit. We've got some stuff going on with the CTI trailer. We've got Jessy finishing up school. We're going to go visit the folks out at the world headquarters in Sacramento. And and then I don't know. Gosh, it's almost Christmas time.
Gosh,
that's weird. It's like in 2 weeks or something. 2.5 weeks.
I'm going to kidnap my children.
Yeah, kidnap your children.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Kids, I know Christmas is right around the corner because my kids are not letting me forget it's right around the corner. Christmas.
Right. We did get a little bit of snow this morning. We got an inch of snow. It's all gone already.
That doesn't count.
Yeah, right.
That's like Sacramento. Like, oh my God, we got snow.
It just rained. That's about it.
That was called frost. Yeah.
Hail. We need more. Send more. Send moisture.
Yeah, I can't do that. I don't have enough here. It's got to come from the east.
We need to figure out a big funnel and pull water from the east back here.
There you go, Elon. That's your next thing. Build a giant funnel that pulls water.
A big
pump.
pump.
The water dumps into all the states.
Yeah.
Goes up there. Okay, Paw Patrol movie. I got to say this real quick. Had a machine that sucked up all the clouds. And so that's what we need. We need a machine that flies in the air, sucks up all the clouds from the east, then brings it out here and just lets it go in the west.
Lets them all go.
Yeah, lets them all go. I mean, you got to hold the clouds and let them go because that would be cloud abuse if you didn't let them go.
Cloud capping, cloud napping.
Cloud
Cloud
napping.
napping.
Cloud. That sounds like a good name for
Cloud
like a brand, like a pillow.
Right.
Cloud nap.
Cloud napping.
Cloud
See?
napping.
That
Yes.
is.
See? Cloud napping. I don't care if your pillow's any good or not. That's a great name.
That's
It's the
great.
cloud
Cloud
napping.
napping.
Cloud napping.
Yes.
Or an app. All right. All right, Modern Jeepers, another great episode. And I'm going to close off with, I don't know if I showed this to you guys before, but it is a Jeep soap bar made by Mike Upchurch's girlfriend. And
Nice.
cool. Just like you can buy these little molds, I guess they make them. So that's
Gonna
cool.
have to have some of that.
Yes.
Right on.
And I don't know, it doesn't smell or anything, or maybe I just can't smell.
Smells
right
like a Jeep.
So we having a Christmas party, right?
Smells like a Jeep.
Yes. Christmas party at MetalCloak.
So I
For
should
all
bring some
for all the
goodies.
public out there, the Christmas party at MetalCloak is on Saturday. We're
Right.
closed.
No
We're not going to be
goodies.
here. They'll come around, but no, you guys all
I'm
come
talking
out.
about my goodies.
Oh, are you bringing goodies?
I can. He told me no.
Yeah.
You don't need to. Honestly, you don't need to bring your goodies. Well, you need to bring your goodies, but don't bring any goodies to give away.
Oh, goodness.
On that
All right.
note,
On that note, that's all Modern Jeepers out there. Have a fun time. Hope you're enjoying the holidays, spending time with your families, and using Santa Claus to discipline your kids.
Yes.
You know, you reach me at Matson@MetalCloak.com. I'll take any and all advice on how to handle kids during the season and beyond, because what happens in January 1 when they go, Santa Claus is gone, actually December 26th after they get their presents. All recommendations are accepted. Matson@MetalCloak.com. Corey at MetalCloak.com and Jessy at MetalCloak.com. Otherwise, my friends, we'll see you on the trails.
cheers.
See ya.